Imagine for a moment a city builder that merges the strategic depth of a game like Civilization with the nuanced complexity of a city builder. A game that, like Civilization, includes a tech tree, wonders, trade routes, and even alliance building that can completely change the course of history, as well as the fortunes of your civilization and city. A game that travels through time as you play it, changing the importance and characteristics of the buildings that you've built along the way. A game with politics and choices that influence how your citizens feel about the city, each other, and even you. A city builder that you can lose or win. That, like Civilization, gives you a score at the end of a playthrough, giving you a reason to play it again and do even better. And a city builder where you can't build roads because they develop organically, like much of your city. If all of this sounds completely different than any other city builder that you've played before, it's because it is. This is a game that doesn't simply want to be another SimCity, Anno, or Banish clone, it wants to carve out its own niche in the city building genre. And in this video, we're going to give it a go, and at the end, I'll tell you what I think about it. But first, a little bit about the game. Memoriapolis is the first game being developed by a brand new studio located in the south of France called 5PM. A tiny team of just 8 people and a few freelancers have been working on this title, and it's being released into early access today for just $25, with 15% off for the first 2 weeks. And interestingly, the founder of this studio is an architect, which is why the game looks absolutely beautiful. And full disclosure, while this video is not sponsored, I was provided a review key, and for that I want to thank the developers. But enough talking about the game, let's dive in and check it out. And here we are in Memoriapolis. Now, we are going to begin a new game momentarily, but I want to lay the foundation for my experience with this game, which is that I don't have very much. I got the key about 24 hours ago, so I played through one new game and the tutorial, and that's about it. So this will be game number 2 for me. Hopefully it goes better than my first one. And the first choice that you get to make is the type of leader that you want to be. And depending on what you choose, you'll get different bonuses. Now, we're just starting out, so I think going with the craftsman makes the most sense. Resources can be hard to come by. Next, we get to name our city ourselves and select a coat of arms, very similar to Manor Lords. I'm going to struggle to pronounce some of these names, so I'm just going to randomize this until I find one that I can pronounce. We'll found the city of Hamaza, and we'll be Mariana Gayos. Now we get to create our coat of arms, and this is a really fantastic tool. So it's very customizable. It's really easy to use. You can basically do whatever you want with this. So I think that we'll choose this shape and maybe a bat with a smiley face, which we can move around and change the color of. And we can even choose a secondary glyph. And there we go. Do I know what it means? Not a clue, but I like it. I think it's gonna work for us. And now we get to found our city. And there's only one map available in this early access version of the game, but there are multiple places on the map that you can build a city. Now, I'm not 100% sure why these top 2 are recommended. We've got a riverside plot right here. We've also got a roadside plot. My guess is that all the resources that you need are available within close proximity. So let's begin at the riverside plot, one of the recommended plots, because I know personally that all the resources are available right here. And the first thing that we have to do is build our ancient camp. And a couple of things I want to point out about this. So you'll notice that we've got this little circle around the ancient camp. The ancient camp is going to be our city center, and that radius is the area in which we can build buildings. So if we don't place this appropriately, we won't actually be able to have access to all of our resources right away, which honestly isn't the end of the world because we will be able to expand this boundary over time, but we want to make sure that it's at least kind of close. The other thing I want to point out is that there are these little circles surrounding the city center, and those are where roads will connect. So if you see there that black circle is near the city center, on the road just down from there, there's also a black circle, and those are locations where a road will form. So you don't have complete control over this, but you do have some. And if you rotate the building around, you can see that the different road locations are changing. And indeed, when I rotate it this way, we actually get 2 different road locations on that King's Road. So I think I'll do something like this and have one road location where the road connects up to that existing road, and then 2 new roads that'll kind of spring off from our city center. And now we've started the Age of Antiquity. We have 1,250 cycles, and the concept of cycles is really important in this game because you're going to have a certain number of cycles that it takes to build something. And just in general, cycles are basically everything. It's how the game is measured as well. You have a certain number of cycles in each era and until the game ends. So we'll get into that more later. The first thing that we have to do is start to organize our city and have the prerequisites met to improve our city center. So to figure out what that is, we click on our city center and we click right here and we can see what it will take to upgrade our city center to the next level. And this is a really important concept as well because basically every building can be upgraded. So we'll need to keep this in mind. What we see is that we need to have a certain number of citizens, a certain amount of wood, a certain amount of stone, and 10 cycles. So we are going to need to pursue this by building some production buildings. But the first thing I want to do is start to build out our food system, because if we don't do that, our citizens will starve. So I know we want to collect wood, we want to collect stone, but this is first. So for all these production buildings, I want to get them as far away from the city center as possible. And that's because they will have fields that form near them that will take away precious space that we would need for our city to grow. So I'm going to rotate this around and place it somewhere down here. And a thing to know about the farms is that a farm can actually develop an additional 10 fields around it. So this little area right here is going to be much larger in the future. And I'll place that right about here. But before I do that, I just want to also point out that this has a negative attraction. And what that means is that people won't want to live by this. Certain buildings have a positive attraction. They will attract people into your community and they'll make them want to live near it. This is a building where people will actually try to stay away from it. So that's another reason why you don't want to place this near your city center. So we'll build this, and this will cost us 10 wood, 10 stone, 16 workers, and 10 cycles. I'm going to place one more of these, and I'm going to place this basically on the opposite side of the map. And I think I'll place this right about here. Now, workers are becoming our limitation now. I don't know if we're going to be able to build both our quarry and our cutting camp at the same time. So I will build our cutting camp. And with this, we can see the amount of resources that we can extract as we move it around. And the further back we get into the forest, the better this thing is. And I'll place this right about there. And now we've only got 2 workers available. So we're going to have to run this thing. And one thing you might notice is everything's been paused. And that's because, again, we have a finite number of cycles. So I don't want to cruise through the game wasting cycles as I'm planning out our community. And now the moment that I resume the game, you start to see some things procedurally generating around here. These are places where people live, and this is one of the really unique concepts of this game, is that you can plan out the large areas, but the small stuff, that just happens to you, and it happens naturally and organically, which I really like. So we're going to see that exact same thing happen with our farms. We're going to see 10 fields or up to 10 fields generated around our farms, just the same as we're seeing our city expand from our city center. And you can see that as cycles are going by, we're starting to have more inhabitants move into our city, and that means that we've got more workers. We're also seeing the amount of wood that we have increase. And as we hover over this, one interesting thing that I'm just finding out right now is that we can see where the resource is. So I'm guessing for stone, yep, we can see where that is. Clay, same deal. Sand, it's by the beach. And precious stones, I have no idea. So let's place a small quarry because I think we can finally do this. And once again, I'm going to cheese it and get just as close to this edge as we can get. And we get to pick what the small quarry is focusing on, and stone is all that's here, so that's what we'll focus on. Now, in short order, once we go through our 10 cycles, we should start to produce stone and be able to upgrade this building. But before we do that, I want to pop into our building tree to show you this quickly. So what this is kind of like the tech tree in Civ, where you get to pursue different things by spending building permits that you've earned on them. Now, we don't generate building permits just yet because we don't have an architectural office, but we can still unlock a few things. So for most of our buildings, we have upgrades that we can unlock. So for instance, for our cutting camp, we can get a 50% yield bonus if we unlock a tier 2 cutting camp and then upgrade the cutting camp itself. So it is a 2-step process. You have to unlock this ability and then upgrade your cutting camp. Now, the one that I'm in here for right now is actually our surveyor's cabin. So this allows you to expand that radius in which you can build buildings. So we absolutely need this. And this is also free. So there's no reason not to get this right away. And it says that several cycles have passed and you now have enough citizens and resources in your warehouse to improve your town center. This upgrade will give you access to a larger building area. So we are obviously going to accept that and upgrade this. So to upgrade it, we click on the building and then you can see the improvement tab right here is green, which means that we can do it. And we'll just click on this and it'll upgrade us to an ancient camp level 2. Now this will take 10 cycles to happen. And again, that's why cycles are so important. It's what makes the whole game go around. All right, and now our ancient camp has been upgraded and we have access to a ton of new buildings, including a ceramic workshop, an arena, and a bunch of buildings that I can't pronounce, some of which we will absolutely need. And I'm not even gonna try. But we also have access to the architectural office. This is gonna be one that we wanna place immediately because it'll give us blueprints. And blueprints are what we're gonna need to unlock other buildings. So if we forget to build this, we're gonna be in a really rough spot because we won't be able to build new buildings. So these new buildings will give us different satisfactions, including health, safety, belonging, self-esteem, and creativity. So we're gonna need to focus on those as we attract different factions into our community, which I'm guessing will start to happen in short order. So like I mentioned, let's go back into our building tree, and under production, I'm going to get this architectural office. This is free, and this will produce 15 blueprints per cycle. So I want to build this basically immediately, but I also am going to unlock a cultural building or two. I think we'll go for the commercial building, and then I'm going to also go for a ceramic workshop, which will help us with production. I'm going to get the education building and the religion building as well. And that should start to attract those factions into the community, and hopefully they like each other. We'll have to see. So first things first, I am going to place that architectural office. This will generate those blueprints, and I don't see a problem placing this near our city center, though I don't know that we get a benefit from it either. No, I'm going to place it over here. We're going to spread this out. I guess this does attract some people to it, so that's not a bad thing. And now the game's saying that we need to add a cultural building, so we can pick any of the ones that we just unlocked, and these will start to light up as they are available to us based on our resources. I think I'm going to build this health building first. That should make most people happy, and I'll place this fairly close to our city center. And this has a huge amount of attraction. I think that this attraction is actually higher than our city center itself. So we'll go for it. And now that we've placed this, it says the first via, of your reign has been built. Choose the additional satisfactions on which the building should take effect. The values will be fixed for each occurrence. Note that the strength of satisfaction depends on the order in which they are selected. So health is first. And now I need to figure out the other satisfaction that this will satiate. So I think for most of our buildings, we get to pick these. So I kind of just have to remember and maybe choose things that make sense. So since this is health, I'm going to say safety as well. Seems like they're in nice harmony. And then I'm going to see if we can build anything else. We can't. So I'm going to speed this along once again. And that's brought us to chapter 3 rewards. We now have 2 more buildings. The Horum offers numerous reserve slots that allow for the city's various production buildings to be managed more efficiently. The Mausoleum allows trade routes to be open to other towns in order to buy, sell, and trade resources. So reasonably, as much as I want to build more cultural buildings, it feels like I need those. So let's go for those right away. And I'm guessing that we have to unlock them in our tech tree, our building tree. So we'll go under services, and indeed, this one right here, 900 building permits. And this one right here, our commercial building, we don't have enough blueprints for it. Now, in the meantime, I want to see what this is going to take. And it looks like we have to have clay, which we're not producing yet. So we're going to have to get to that as well. And now chapter 4, we've got more things that we can build. A carver and carpentry. We've got to slow down. We can't do that yet. So we need some more production buildings. And for clay, let's see, the clay is over kind of on the far end of our forest. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, we can't reach that yet. So we are going to need to build a surveyor's cabin, which will allow us to get a little bit further away. And I have to have this basically touching this zone. What stinks is I don't know that we are necessarily there just yet, even with this. And I don't want to place another one of these proximity buildings because we've only got 4 of them. So if I were to place another one of these, I'm kind of wasting it. I need to upgrade this thing. Okay, and it is close enough. And honestly, if we're pretty tricky with it, we can get a lot of clay. So I'll place that right here. And interestingly, we can actually get sand over here as well. And I think if we upgrade the quarry, we could have it get to both of those. But I think that's a number of upgrades down the line. So what I might do is just add a second quarry right over here. And that's honestly not a lot of resource, but I think it's probably worth it. Worst case scenario, we are able to grab twice as much clay, or grab it twice as fast rather. So now I'm quite curious how much we're going to need. Just 150. So that should go relatively quickly after the building gets built. Also getting some notices here. We have a faction that's been installed. So basically they want to join our city. So this faction is a crew of sailors. The family they come from controls the mines and forages of their region, and they're looking to expand their trade and grow their fame of their name. So basically we get to decide whether or not they get to move into our community. They will give us some cultural influence. They'll give us some extra money, and hopefully they'll be good citizens. They won't riot and burn the whole place down. I think we are going to accept them because we don't have any, might as well. And that gives us access to even more buildings that we can't build just yet because we don't have resources. So cool. All right, now we have access to the Horium. So I'm going to place this, I think, again, fairly close to the city center. I don't see why not. The one thing I'm not sure of is what this actually provides us in terms of attraction. So I think, okay, the smart thing to do is probably just to click on it. And that actually provides a lot of attraction. So it's not bad to place it near our city center. I'm going to place it right about here. And again, we have to pick our satisfactions. This one actually gives us 2 though. So we've already selected safety. So I think I will pick belonging. I don't know why religious people would care much about a warehouse, but okay. And then esteem. And hopefully that's a good thing for us. It looks like they're all even here. So health is 250, belonging is 250, and so is esteem. Now, I'm noticing that we're also getting a number of blueprints now, so we should continue to unlock buildings. And I'm not 100% positive on this, but it seemed to me like having upgraded buildings was better than having multiple buildings. So like right here, for instance, our cutting camp, if we place the upgrade, will improve our yield by 50% and the radius by 50%. So that would seem to be better than adding a second one. So I'm going to upgrade this if I can. It just takes a bunch of stone. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing for our quarry and see what this takes. This will, again, increase our radius and our yield quite a bit on this. This will take wood. So it's nice. It's the 2 halves. And then for this, the moment that I do this, this building won't produce for a little while. So we got to keep that in mind. And we are going to upgrade this one. And it's going to take us 7 cycles. That's 7 cycles where we're not producing any stone, not the end of the world. We're going to do the exact same thing with our cutting camp. I'm going to do the exact same thing with our clay and our sand. And we've got another faction that wants to join us. This is another faction that's focused on money. This is a powerful Persian family known in many countries for their military parades and religious importance. They are now here to improve their commercial exchanges. Their aim is to open various trading posts to facilitate the buying and selling of goods. So they're giving us the exact same benefits as the last faction that joined. I'm hoping that there won't be some issues between the 2 of them, but I think we'll go for it. So again, we've got a lot of blueprints available. So I'm going to go back and I want to look at our farms because we're growing. And I think that this is another good one. This will improve the yield per field. So we're going to do it because I think it's wise, but we need to understand that this is going to make these very undesirable to be next to. Now, I've been neglecting our main goal for chapter 7, which is to improve our camp. And for this, we have to have wooden beams. So we have to build the carpentry building. So we have to unlock that. So I'm going to stop going ham with all of our blueprints and start to focus on the carpentry building when we can. Okay, and I've let a few cycles pass so that I have more blueprints available so that hopefully we can get our carpenter. And the carpenter is 500 blueprints. We have just enough for this. Now this is another one that is negative attractive. So I'm going to place this out on the periphery. So I can place this maybe right here. And now we'll produce those wooden beams. And I think that that's the only thing that we're missing. Yeah, just wooden beams, and then we can upgrade once more. And another faction wants to move in, the exact same kind of faction. This is the Wine Growers Guild, and they are expert wine producing community. I mean, who doesn't like wine? Obviously, we got to have wine growers. We'll let them move in. And now we can finally improve our ancient city center, so we will do that. And while we're waiting for that, we should start to get close to our blueprint number as well. And this upgrade gives us even more buildings that we can't build. It's starting to make me think that maybe we need to focus on improving our architect soon, because I really would like to get blueprints faster. So, okay, I've slowed it down, and we are going to unlock our mycelium, which helps us trade 900 building permits. That's painful. So I'm going to build this again. Ooh, this is round. I like that. I'm an easily amused person, clearly. And this is not as attractive as some other things. Interesting. I think I actually want our city to grow and spread out. So I'm going to place this right about here, right off our trade route, or our King's Road rather. And I think we still need creativity, and we'll go for safety again. Safety is never a bad thing. Now, the one thing I haven't done yet is we have this warehouse, and we should open the panel to actually see what's happening within here. And it looks like what we have the ability to do now is stop workers from working at certain buildings if we have a huge backlog of a certain resource. So I don't know the purpose of doing this right now, if I'm being totally honest with you. It seems like it would be a bad idea, for instance, to stop producing food. That said, I wonder if we were to upgrade one farm, which we can do right now, it's just 200 lumber. If we were to do that, then potentially could we just stop working another farm? Maybe that would make sense, because then we could allocate those workers elsewhere. But I'll be a wild man, and we'll upgrade both of these at the same time and just burn through food for the next few cycles. Now, I was about to complain about respecting the topography, but now we have the threat of Macedonia 1. An emissary brings you a letter from the King of Macedonia, who wishes to conquer territory in order to gain access to the Aegean Sea. He plans to lay siege to Amphipolis and the neighboring Greek cities, and sees you as a key ally. You have the necessary soldiers, and the Greek cities have coveted resources, but weakening these cities in order to exploit them could be harmful in the long term. You could seek political and religious support to moderate the king's ambitions. The choice is yours, and will shape the future. The choice is yours, and will shape the future. Live up to your convictions. Okay, well, am I a good guy or a bad guy? 50 cycles is a lot. And I'm more concerned about safety going down than food, because I'm upgrading the farms. So I don't know what these things are that we win. Okay, it looks like this is an education building. This one is a military building. We're going to have a high-minded society. So we are going to defend the Greek cities. So we'll lose some food for 50 cycles. Not the end of the world, because we just upgraded our farms. Now, back to respecting the topography. I can't see contour lines, so I did this. And it looks bad, and there's no way to fix it. So that's a bummer. I can't even delete this road right here, so that is a limitation of this game. Now, one of the things I'm supposed to do is trade with the outside world. So I have to build a trade route and buy or sell resources. So let's try to do that. And interesting, we can get resources that we don't necessarily have just yet that we might need. So just out of my own curiosity, we are producing a lot of stone. So I think that I'm going to try to sell some of the excess stone. So I think I have to buy a trade route to one of these communities. So I have to find someone that actually wants stone. And then for the trade route, let's just trade 50. Oh, I could just get money from this. I don't know what the money's. Oh, it's useful because I could buy items. That's helpful. So for 60 stone, I can get 7 bricks. So we'll accept that trade route, and we fulfilled that mission. So now we are still running low on blueprints to get either the Senate building that we need to have to unlock our next chapter, or our architect upgrade, which I think is what we actually want to do. So I'm going to speed things along until we get to that. And now we'll go into our building tree and absolutely unlock this first upgrade here. And all it takes is wood and some rubbles, which we don't actually have. So for that, I need a carver, which is another 500. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. We can handle this though, because we can trade for this. All we've got to do is buy a trade route. And I'm going to buy this one. And I just want 10 of these. Now, one thing I didn't notice before is that this will take 35 cycles to get here, but I don't want to produce this rubbles yet, so I think it's going to be worth it. Now, we do have a lot of resources available to us, so I'm going to see what else we can build. It seems like wood is our big limiting factor right now, but I'd love to build one of these other cultural buildings. Now, interestingly, as you place these, so you can already see as I hover over that there are these different factions in different parts of the city, but let's actually zero in on that. And if we look at our district filter, we can actually see the types of factions we have in our community. And there are a couple of areas where we don't have factions. If we place a building that would attract a certain faction to that area, they'll probably try to move in. So by placing this building, we should end up with a faction that looks for belonging. And for our secondary satisfaction, we'll go for creativity. There we go. And I was just looking at what it would take to upgrade our architect, and we have a new faction that wants to move in. This is the same type of faction once again, and I feel like we're going to be in a bad spot if we keep accepting the same type of faction. So I think I'm going to decline these folks, and hopefully nothing bad happens. So what we need right now are the rubles and wood. And for whatever reason, we're just not doing great with wood anymore. So I'm inclined to build another one of our cutting camps and even improve this thing when we can. So, wow, this is an excellent location for it. We are going to do it. And now we're getting word back from the threat of Macedonia 2. Your defense was a success inspired by your example. Other cities rallied to the cause of the oppressed. The Greek cities resisted valiantly, inflicting heavy losses on the king, who lost an eye in the battle. In gratitude, the leaders have sent you plans for a building, the symbol of your commitment to justice and the well-being of your peoples. Yes, we'll accept the gift. Absolutely. This is that educational building. And I think we might actually have everything we need to build this outside of wood, I guess, and bricks. So there's a lot that we don't have. So let's go ahead and upgrade this right away. This will double our stockpile. Maybe double's the wrong word. It improves it by 50%. Math. And now back at our architectural office, we have what we need for this improvement. Interestingly, it looks like it's saying that we don't have enough rubles, but we do. We'll click on this, and 9 cycles of not having blueprints. We've got a lot already, so I think we are going to build or unlock some more buildings. I want the carver. I think that we need it. Actually, no. Take a step back. We are going to go for the building that we're actually supposed to be building, which for 450 is a steal. This is our census building. It's a political building. This will allow us to enable decrees. Perfect. Now, I still want to see if we can get the carver. We can, and that'll be all of our blueprints. So, which is fine. Let's build our census, and holy cow, this thing is massive. So we could start demolishing different things to make this fit. I'm very reluctant to do that. What I'm going to do instead is spin this around and maybe place this here. I feel like this, I mean, it's the census. They should improve your health and safety. Otherwise, what's the purpose of the government? That's what it's supposed to do. So we'll do that. And we have another faction at our gates. They, again, the same type of faction. I think it's a bad idea. I want to attract other factions, so I'm going to decline them again. Okay, a couple more production buildings. We are going to build our carver. And for this one, again, I'm guessing not super attractive. I'm wondering how it's going to work. So let's say I place this thing way out here. Will it build a road around it? Oh my goodness, it figured it out. So we do have a road. It wrapped around the building and around the farm field. So that's great. The other building I want to unlock is going to be the building that helps us get our own bricks. There we go. We've got the building permits for this. And again, I'll place this on the outskirts. Now, this turns clay into bricks. So I think having it over here makes the most sense if I can shoehorn it in. And we'll respect the topography over here. Oh boy, that's... Oh, just look away. Just look away. Okay, so now for chapter 9, we have to politicize the city. The census is admired and you are respected for all of this decision. From now on, the factions will vie for seats there to wield influence over the city's politics. But you'll have to remind them regularly that you are alone in charge of the city. Why not put a temporary measure to vote to make a lasting impression? And another faction wants to move in, and it's the same kind of faction once again. You guys just love it here. They're going to offer us an office to do it. It's where we can mint coins. How could I turn that down? Okay, let's open the panel. So we've got all 4 factions. They all love money. We have no other factions. So interestingly, these decrees cost money per cycle. So right here, if I were to get this quality control decree, this would cost us 5 gold coins per cycle. All of our factions that are commerce factions are going to accept this, which is all of them. It's neutral for most everyone else. And it looks like the militaristic factions don't like this. So maybe we just don't invite them into the city, or at least not for 40 cycles. This actually improves how they feel about us. So that is what this does. Okay, now I get it. Chance of success, 86%. So they do have to vote on it, and it's going to cost us 200 gold coins. Go for it. Now, I'm not 100% sure when this vote actually occurs, but I assume it'll be soon. And it is. Everyone voted in favor of it. No one voted against it. So we'll accept that. And now that's a thing. So that has given us access to wonders. So wonders are endgame. So what we basically want to do is try to have as many wonders as we can, make our city as attractive as possible, so we get as high a score as possible, so that we are the capital of capitals. So we are absolutely going to unlock and construct a wonder. So now we have these 2 wonders to choose from. We have the Sassi de Madra, which transforms up to 80 wanderers' homes. So there are wanderers around the cities. I guess they will have homes in the city. So that's interesting. And then the second one right here is the Mausoleum de Halicarnassus. So the king's mausoleum, because he's dead, his grieving widow will erect this in his honor. She sent plans to you for the tomb. Do I want to support the king having a place to be dead, or wanderers becoming citizens? I feel like the mausoleum is going to be cooler looking, so we're going to go for that. And that's right here. And we are short on tiles. So to produce tiles, we'll need to go into our building tree and find a tilery. This is 500 of our building permits. We've got that. I think we'll place that over here near our sand pits. And then let's look at our decorative tab right here. A statue of the founders provides lots of attraction. You better believe we're going to build that. Wow, this thing is massive. I feel like we've got to add a proximity building and have this thing right at the beach or like near it. So let's add this right here. And then we'll place this statue of the founders facing the water, pointing to the world saying, come hither, right here. It's only 100 attractiveness. I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be more. Well, now I'm disappointed. And I don't want, now that I think about it, I don't want people living on the beach. So we are going to place that. I'm going to place it right over here, maybe along the road, showing people what a great city that we have, because there's nothing happening around this area. There, right here. That's what we'll do it. And then for our other decorative building, the area, a bit of attraction. I'm wondering if something like this would be appropriate. This actually is way more attractive. It's 150. So yeah, we'll add that right there. Maybe it'll offset how unattractive the small farm is. Now, another thing that I haven't done, we still got this fortifying the city thing popping up, and we've got tons of wood now. So why don't we build our fortifications? Oh, that looks super awesome when it's rounded around that. But then our sign right here, our little symbol of the community isn't in there. I wonder if it's because it has to be built. We'll give it 2 more cycles, then we'll give it a shot. Okay, now we'll build our walls. No, that didn't do it. Let me expand it a bit more. You know what? It's just going to be outside of the wall. It's too cool to not have it like that. So we will build that 710 wood. I'm noticing it's going to take 14 turns to finish this. So I'm going to see if there are any other buildings that we can build. So the ceramics workshop is one that I've wanted to build. Let's go ahead and get this thing in place. And you know, there are areas over here where we don't have factions. I'm wondering if we can sneak this thing in right about here. And this will be a bit of a buffer in between the things that aren't attractive and the people. So let's see. This is a ceramic workshop. It feels like creativity has to be the other thing it gives you. It gives you health and creativity. So let's go for it. And now let's see what else we have available to us. We also have the Agogi Center. This provides creativity, and the Officina. Well, I thought this one provided coins, but apparently it provides health satisfaction. So yeah, we'll build this one. And I think I'm going to try to start adding buffers in between the unattractive things and wow, 400 attractiveness for this. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we obviously got to build that. Okay. And now I want to see for our wonder. Oh my goodness. This thing is massive and I really want it in the city. So I'm going to do something that is maybe regrettable. I think we're going to move our farm. So I'm going to build a new farm. And they're telling me now that I can improve our warehouse, or no, I can improve our ancient city center. It'll give us a larger building area. What do we need for this? Yeah, we'll do that, which will make it impossible for us to build our wonder, but that's fine. I want to move the farm. This is not a great area. It's in the middle of our city. I mean, truthfully, this one's not either. I'm going to add a proximity building. So I'll add this. No, I'll add it over here. We'll add it out in this area. That's probably our smartest bet. So we'll build that proximity building right there. And then once that's done, we'll add our farm out here. And then I think with some of our blueprint money, and it's not blueprint money, I get that. We are going to upgrade the radiuses here. So it's a modest amount of resources. And let's see, that upgrade from there a little bit more. I think we can, we actually don't have gold. So we'll hold off on that upgrade. So I think this one, potentially we can expand this one and then have our 2 farms out here eventually. Okay, so now let's see our buildable area. We are going to go with that small farm like I mentioned, and we'll sneak it right off the side. And then I'm going to immediately upgrade this thing. All right, so that's going. I'm going to get rid of this. So for this, I click on the main building and then I delete it. So I can pay to do this quickly and use workers to recycle it. I'm going to do that. It's going to cost us a lot, but I think it's smart to do that. Wow, that was quick. That was very quick. Now we need to get rid of the rest of these fields because now they're just withering and dying. Okay, and now we've got a ton of space right here. All right, another economy-focused peoples wants to join us. Absolutely not. Stay away. All right, I'm going to unlock. We've got a lot of blueprints again. Maybe the real problem is I need to have some cultural buildings that will attract different factions. So I don't know that I've actually built this one yet. I want to pursue education. So I'm going to build a bunch of education buildings. I'll get all of those. And now I can sort these by what type of building these actually are. So let's see. The theater, again, a very large building. I think that we've actually placed the Agoig Center. And then we have the Ludus Magnus. This is fairly small. I think we can get away with adding this. So I'm going to place this right here. And then for the Skula, I'm going to place this right next to this. And my hope is that the 2 of these being side by side will lead to a new district forming with a different type of people. Now, for our wonder, I see that our food, we're still fine. And this isn't even done completely loading up. So I think we're fine there. For our wonder, we actually still have everything that we need. And interestingly, this says it must be placed on the periphery of the constructible zone. So this doesn't actually want to be in the center of the city. They want it to be out here. So all of that demolishing and destruction was for no reason. I can actually place it way out here. Oh my goodness. I feel like a fool, but that's what happens. It's a new game. You're learning things. Wow. The attractiveness of this is out of this world. The radius is huge, and we're going to absolutely build it. 200 cycles. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So this is going to take some time. That's okay. That is okay because it gives us more time to fill in this area that we have ruthlessly demolished everything in. And honestly, this isn't a bad thing because I talked about wanting to build the theater and how large this was. I think maybe it's an opportunity to place this thing right in the middle of our community. Okay, we'll place that right about here. And I want to situate this so that the front of the building is facing towards the city center. And I'm not 100% sure. I've been under the impression that the black circle is the front of the building, but honestly, it kind of feels on this one like the front of the building would be the flat area. And would you look at this? Placing all of those educational buildings finally got us an educational focused faction. So Athos and his followers are recognized in many major cities along the coast. The community of writers, scribes, and copyists dedicate their lives to the preservation and reproduction of ancient texts. Thanks to their meticulous work, a great deal of knowledge has been saved. You better believe we're going to invite them right in. They trust us because of some of the buildings that we have. Let's do it. With our blueprints, we could unlock more wonders. I'm kind of curious to see what we have. We have the Circus Maximus, which looks like it is a gigantic military building. We've also got the Library of Alexandria. Makes me feel Civ right now. The Statue of Zeus, more Civ feelings. And the Trojan Forum, a commercial building. Of course, will attract more commercial people. I think we're gonna build this library. This is a ton of blueprints, but we have enough, so we might as well. We have enough of everything. The main thing, we have to build this on the periphery again. This is huge. And I don't know if we have got a good spot on the periphery for it. Oh, that is honestly kind of tragic. I guess it'll let me get away with this. I can put it in the forest. Oh, I can. Learning, we're just learning right now. This is not good planning. And again, another 200 turns, and oh my goodness, the disrespect of the topography, it's just killing me. It's just killing me. Now, interestingly, it's telling me that there's tensions, but there's a party right here. Everyone's super excited. And right here, we can see that the town is celebrating. The streets are alive with laughter and lively music. Construction of a long-awaited building is complete. Everyone will know about it. Congratulations. And that is all because of our mausoleum. Very, very cool. So I don't think we have to worry too much about the tensions that were arising. We've actually worked our way towards a new age. And what this will do is evolve our community. Now, one thing I was really hoping to do was upgrade to the ancient capital. And I'm not sure if this will actually help us improve our score or not, but I'm guessing that it will. So I think before we change the age, I'm going to roll the dice a little bit, and I'm going to speed things along and attempt to reach this next upgrade. And I'll also be foolish and accept any faction that comes my way. Now, the challenging thing, I'm noticing it right away. We actually are capped out at the number of beams and rubles that we have. So I'm going to slow this down momentarily, and we are going to add an additional carver. And I'm hoping, once again, that this will allow us to increase the maximum amount of rubles that we can have. And we'll do the exact same thing with our carpenter. And indeed, that has improved our maximum amount that we can store. However, I don't know that it's high enough. Yet we're still going to be too low on the rubles. So I think that this is the wrong way of handling it. I think that this is the wrong way of doing things, but we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to add another carver. I think you're supposed to, we haven't figured out gold. And I looked around for it, and I'm under the impression, and maybe it's the false impression, but I'm under the impression that maybe it's not available in this age. Okay, and now we do have what we need to become the ancient capital. And that's what I was waiting for. Before we move to the next age, let's just do this. And this only takes us a couple of turns. We have more merchants. I said I would accept anyone who comes. We'll do it. Come move in, merchants. We love it. Everyone's happy here. Another party. Oh my goodness, though, our food stocks are low. I'm making mistakes because I'm so excited to keep improving. Okay, we've got to resolve this. This can't we can't leave this like this. We can't starve on our way out. So we'll build one farm there, and I think we now have enough space because our radius is growing that maybe we could build a farm out here as well if it'll allow it. We can. And reasonably, that's a much better location anyway. Lots of space to grow. This one won't have a lot. I will upgrade this one right away and this one as well. And the partying is because we finished our second wonder, the Library of Alexandria, because we've just been cruising along. Now, I want to see if we're in a good place with our food. And as they add fields, we can see that our gain for this cycle is starting to improve. We're at negative. We were at -6. Now we're at a positive, and we're starting to finally bank food once again. And with that, we've got to level 5 with our capital, which I believe is the top level that we can get to. There's no upgrade path from here. We are in a good place kind of across the board. We didn't build every building, but we built a lot of buildings, and we've got a pretty large city. People still want to move in. In fact, we'll decline because we're finally in a good spot with food. Before we wrap things up, I had this sinking feeling that something wasn't right during this video. And what it was that the graphics settings were not where they were supposed to be. So I had everything set to high yesterday, but for some reason it defaulted back to medium, and as a result, the game wasn't looking as good as it could look. So I decided to switch everything over to high, and now you can see the game in its best light. I think this is really important because the game is it's beautiful. And I think that many of you are going to be playing on high because the requirements for the game aren't all that crazy. So here's what the game looks like in its very best light. And some of the things that are different are things like this looking very shiny and golden. It's really, really good. So there is one other way to view this game, though, which is really unique. I haven't seen it in another game, and I think some of you are really going to like it. So for that, you got to pop into your settings, go to the graphics settings, and turn on the experimental paint effect. And would you look at this? This makes it look like the entire game was painted. You can see the canvas, you can see the paint strokes. It's even more beautiful, which is outstanding. But here's the thing. The reason why I didn't present the game in this way, A, it's not the default, and B, the zoom effect is a little weird. It's kind of like having the focal length shift, and I think that for some people that could be disorienting. And it might be a reason why you don't want to do this. So you can kind of see it goes from 2D to 3D, and that movement in between, I think could give some people some motion sickness. So that's why I didn't do it. But it's there and it's beautiful, and I played it like that when I was playing on my own. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's progress to the end of this age. And to do that, we'll click on this button, Change Age, and it says, are you sure you want to go on to the next age? You're about to embark on the passage of an age in your city, and this will be an opportunity to make decisions that will have a major impact on your residents. Bear in mind, too, that certain actions will no longer be possible, and buildings and factions will be forgotten forever. And this is the case. There are certain buildings that we will never be able to build again. It'll say they're locked out by age. So that is why this is such a big decision to make. But we will absolutely progress towards a new age. And we have 92 cycles that are being transferred to the next age, which is a really cool feature. You don't just lose your cycles, you get to bring them forward. And then I really like that even though this is a game where you don't get to build your city forever, you do get these opportunities to see what you've done. So you can have some attachment to the city that you've built. And it does it in a really beautiful way. So that paint effect that I was just showing you a moment ago, it's showing it to you again. But this time it's showing you all of the interesting buildings that you built and when you built them along the timeline right here. And it's just, it's beautiful. It's great to be able to take inventory of what you've done with a brief city tour, and the game is doing it for you. So I really, really like that. And on that note, we're not going to progress any further in this episode, but I do want to know if you want to see me progress through the next age. It's one of the 2 ages that are available in the game. There will be 4 in total when the game is fully released. But what I've noticed, at least from what I can tell, it seems like the 2 ages that are in the game right now are feature complete. Unlike some early access games that have the whole game there, but a whole bunch of stuff says early access, this will be done later on. It seems like they've decided to really complete the first 2 ages, make them really, really complete, completely fleshed out, and they're saving the last 2 ages for the rest of the project. So you'll be able to have input on those next 2 ages. And in the meantime, the game that you have is very complete, but about half the length that it should be. So it's an interesting way to approach early access, and one that I guess I appreciate. So let me know down in the comments. If you want to see me progress through the next age, I will do so. Otherwise, I'll do it on my own because I have absolutely been loving this game. It's been a ton of fun. It's a completely different kind of city builder. You have to kind of wrap your mind around it. The first, I don't know, half an hour that I played, I really struggled because it's so different than every other city builder. When I started thinking about it more like a game like Civ or like Anno, things started to click and I began to have more fun with it. And obviously there's still more that I need to figure out, but I feel like I'm well on my way. And with that, I think that we're going to leave it here. And I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I want to thank you so much for your time. There's a million things that you could have been doing. You decided to hang out with me and play some Memoriapolis. I will never get that right. And I really appreciate that. I also want to give a huge shout out to the developer, 5 PM, who gave me early access to this game and a free key. It's not a sponsored video. They're not seeing this. They don't have any review. I could say whatever I want. But I really appreciate that they gave me that opportunity to share this game with you because it's been a lot of fun for me, and I hope that you've enjoyed this as well. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.